Welcome to Wine Soundtrack Canada. Listen to the passion with which producers narrate their winery and their world. In 30 Answers, discover their stories, personalities, and passions.
Hello, friends and listeners of Wine Soundtrack Canada. This is your host, Christine Campbell, and today I am absolutely thrilled to be sitting with Heleen Pannekoek of Fort Berens Estate Winery. We are sitting downtown Vancouver during the Vancouver International Wine Festival. Welcome, Heleen. Can you please tell the listeners and I about Fort Berens?
Yeah, Fort Berens was established in 2009 by my husband and myself after we immigrated from the Netherlands, wanting to do something completely different in a new country. We're located in Lillooet, which is off the beaten track, but Lillooet's climate is very hot, very dry, and excellent for growing grapes, so we're very happy to be there.
And Heleen, how many acres of land do you have?
At the moment, we have 37 acres planted vineyard, and we are hoping to add another 35 next year.
So that sounds like a very fast growth for a relatively new winery. You're just kind of taking the world by storm. We would actually call you a bit of a trailblazer here in British Columbia.
Well, thanks, Christine. Maybe that's the case, but we've been in business for 13 years now, so we've grown to about 10,000 cases in sales, and we are hoping to keep growing a little bit more in the next few years. And the new vineyards that we have are partially to replace grapes that we're purchasing at the moment, and we hope to be 100% Lillooet grown in the next few years.
I'm very excited about that. Heleen, what are the main markets that you are selling to? Is it a British Columbia main base as your consumers, or are you doing some provincial selling or international sales?
We have done a little bit of sales to the Netherlands, mostly for family and friends, but right now we're focusing predominantly on BC. Yeah.
And do you recall your first memory relevant to wine?
Ooh. I have to go back there a little bit.
Good.
My parents have been avid lovers of food and wine. I'd say always. I remember the probably cheap bottles of Côte d'Aron that they would have, with their dinner. But they had friends that were into wine, and then that's how it sort of grew. I grew up in the Netherlands, as I said before, and we would go on holidays in France, and there we would visit wineries, and my parents be tasting wines, obviously, but I think that's where it got started. My dad used to say, it's like, yeah. He's like, my wife and I really enjoy wine, but my daughter's sort of overdone it a little bit, so I think he's right.
But look at you now.
Yeah.
Incredible. Do you recall your most memorable wine that you've ever enjoyed? And if you can recall a memorable wine over the course of your life, do you recall the occasion that it was associated with?
Oh, wow. Well, there's so many memories because when Rolf and I started dating, one of our first trips was to go tenting in France, and we've traveled a lot in Europe and visited a lot of wineries, and I personally think that some of the most outstanding moments are always when you're at the winery. I remember one winery in Italy that we visited. Riecini is the name of the winery. We tasted the wine in some restaurant, and then we went looking for this winery, and we could not find it anywhere. And it was somewhere way in the back countryside in Chianti. And when we finally found it, it was this very modest, sort of shed, and not a lot of visitors would visit there. But we tasted the wines, and they were absolutely delicious. And we bought a whole bunch, obviously, and then. In 2019, we were back in Italy with our kids and now owning a winery and stuff like that. So this is 25 years fast forward or whatever. And so they have this beautiful building now, and there's still very nice people. And we sort of recollected the memories of that first visit that we had. So really enjoyed their wines and that visit. But yeah, that wine at the dinner that we had, I think that was one of the standout. Maybe it was not the best wine that I've ever had, but it was like the moment and the occasion always make for a true great experience, and wine can be a great part of that.
I can't agree more. So would I be correct in saying for the next question, which is maybe some of the best foreign wine you've ever enjoyed? Would that be Italian wine or?
Yeah, personally, I've really enjoyed a few nice Barolos over my lifetime, and I'm very, very sad that Nebbiolo is not a grape variety that I think we could ever grow in Canada. So, but
I've heard
they do it so well in Italy. So let's keep that.
There were rumors this last couple days that Nebbiolo is going to be planted.
Oh well. That would be great.
Speaking of the wines currently in your Fort Berens cellar, what wine is giving you currently the most satisfaction?
Well, we have I think this year we have a really outstanding portfolio, but because it's Chardonnay Day today, I'd say right now, today I would really enjoy our Chardonnay the most. It's a super elegant wine. It's very lightly oaked, it's fresh, it's crisp, and it's a wine that we've made a lot of Chardonnay haters into Chardonnay lovers over the years. It's what you can do in a tasting room is when people come in and say, well, what is this? And you say Chardonnay and they're super surprised. Yeah, that's always some of the nicest things I think that are out there.
So Chardonnay is the answer. You know that I am a hardcore Chardonnay fan, so that's all. Chardonnay's always the answer.
Yeah.
When you're talking to me, Chardonnay's always the answer. Heleen, do you believe that there is a such thing as a perfect variety, a perfect grape variety?
Well, to me, personally, I'm a great lover of both Chardonnay, but also of Riesling. And I think the nice thing of Riesling is that you can make it beautiful, be it super dry to intense sweet ice wine and anything in between. And what makes Riesling special in that way is that their acidity, if that is balanced with the sweetness, it is always going to be a very delicious wine. And so that would be my perfect. A friend of mine has said to me once, he was a sommelier, and he had learned when he got into the wine business, he had learned that if you don't know what to pair a dish with, choose Riesling. So his words were, "When in doubt, Riesling." That was I never forget that.
That's a good word of advice. So, what is your personal opinion of wine critics and wine scores?
Aye. Well, I think it's for wineries. It's important to convince. There's people. People need to be convinced. There's there's stores full of bottles of wine, and I think wine critics are very important. Sort of giving a secondary opinion about wines and about wineries and experiences. And in that sense, we love working with critics, and we're always happy to hear the feedback. It's not always, what you hope for, but that just makes you, do better in the future. And we're super stoked with critics. We can't live without them.
Yay! I'm happy to be one of them. I'm happy that you answered that way.
You really twisted my arm asking that question. So.
Getting down to wine yourself, Heleen, as a consumer, do you tend to prefer white, red, or rosé? I think I know the answer, but I just need to hear your answer out of your mouth, and it might surprise me.
Well, at the moment, I am enjoying more white wines, but the weather is finally turning a little bit, at least in Vancouver. So I'm more of a white lover in the summer, spring, red in the fall, winter kind of a person. So, and if anybody ever comes to our table for a tasting or to the tasting room and asks me what my favorite wine is, I always say, tell me the time of the day, the time of the year, who you're with, what you're having to eat, whatever the situation is, and I'll tell you what my favorite wine is at that point. But the nice thing of wine is just there's such a great variety, and I would never want to drink the same thing all the time. I think it's just way too much of an enjoyment to taste different things all the time.
Fantastic. So, still wines or sparkling? What do you tend to reach for more often?
Well, from a practical point of view, it's mostly still wines. But I mean, a sparkling wine is a beautiful thing. So there again, whatever the occasion, and sparkling something else is nice to have for a change too. One of our employees is doing a very nice cider, an apple cider, a dry apple cider right now. So, a glass of that is nice as a alternative for a bubble. But bubbles are great; they're the best. So.
And would you be, if their budget was not an issue, do you land in champagne with a champagne, or do you like non-vintage brut, or are you into Lambrusco or Franciacorta or Crémant de Bourgogne? What are some of your sparkles that you enjoy?
Well, I think I would go preferably for a classical champagne or champagne style. I mean, if it's a good, well-made, méthode traditional, Canadian bubble, I'd be just as happy to enjoy that too. So,
are you
not like, to me the brand is not always the answer.
Yeah. No,
but the quality is. So yeah.
There's so much money behind marketing. Okay, I know I've been here before. I've had 1 or 2 extra glasses of wine. I've enjoyed my experience, and I wake up the next day and I'm not feeling the best. Do you have a personal remedy for the day after when you might have imbibed a little bit more that you can share with the listeners?
Oh, well, I'd say just try and take it easy, drink a lot of water, and hope that the next day is coming soon. Yeah. The thing with my age is that it's I don't enjoy drinking a lot at the moment because I just can't sleep, wake up sweating the entire night, and that's the end of it. So I'm trying to just enjoy a little bit, and then maybe a little bit of something else. That's yeah.
So you're preventative. Your remedy is to prevent. I like that. I like that a lot. Here's a fun one that I like to ask the winemakers and wine principals. What does a non-drinker lose out on by not drinking your wine, by not enjoying your wine?
Yeah, well, I have a few very good friends that have become people that don't drink anymore, and I'm like, I understand it, but to me, there's just it just adds so much enjoyment. A pairing of food and wine that is just perfect. It can be such joy and such great entertainment, and I personally love, but it doesn't have to be a lot. I mean, to me, enjoying something, it does not have to come with, quantities. It's the quality that counts. So
yeah, we're not going for excess. We're going for small.
But that's one of the reasons why my answer for like a still or a sparkling wine is like a sparkling wine. If you have a whole bottle, you have to drink it. Yeah. That can be an issue. But if you have enough people around, then that's not a problem.
Well, living in Champagne for 15 months, like I did, there was always people around to help finish off that bottle. Okay, this is one of those out there questions. Space aliens land in your vineyards. Mm-hmm. They demand to come inside and be given one of your wines from your cellar. What Fort Berens wine do you serve them, and why?
Space aliens, assuming they have never tried wine before.
Correct.
Maybe I'd have them taste a little bit of our classic Riesling. It has a little bit of sweetness, so it is quite enjoyable for lots of different people. And I think that would be it, because I think it's a great introduction to wine. It's very easy to appreciate. Lovely wine.
And it speaks to the terroir of where you are and your winemaking style, and it can be approachable, it can be all of the things. I like that. Let's talk about vintages. Do you believe that each vintage tells a different story or not? Are you finding more things repeat themselves vintage to vintage, or is it the opposite recently?
Well, recently we're trying, like, the difference in the vintages obviously have to do with, the circumstances in the vineyard, but also we found that there's been a time where we had low crop, high crop, low crop, and it was sort of a yo-yo, which was very unpleasant because the consistency was not there. And that's one thing that we're working really hard on right now in the vineyard. And I think that's where that starts, is that there's more consistency in the crop. And through that consistency in the crop, you get a better balanced grape that you can make a better wine out of. So better balance means that the flavors and the sugars and the acidity are at its peak almost, in one time, and not waiting for flavor forever, but then getting that very high sugar and very concentrated, thing. And then the next year it's, much more, it's all much lighter and lower alcohols again, and up and down. And that's definitely something that we're working hard on in the vineyard at the moment. And the last few years we're lucky to have hopefully broken that pattern and sort of be more in a situation where we're more even and therefore better balance and better quality. So definitely.
Do you personally have any good luck rituals when harvest is about to start? Do you do something every year to kind of send a good luck charm out into the world?
I have a very short answer. I don't.
No. No is a totally cool answer because it's a yes or no, and if you do, then there would be a story there.
I'm not very superstitious that way, so no.
So are you the type of person that walks through the vines and talks to them, or walks through the cellar and talks to the wine in the barrels at all?
Yeah, I'm more a vineyard walker, talker girl. Yeah. Yeah, I think that helps. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could hear what the vines were saying to you? Like, we need a little bit of this, we need a little bit of that.
Yeah, that would be perfect. That would be very perfect. Yeah, we do it more like, do tests and, look and see what they tell us.
Yeah.
That way. More the scientific way. And, but yeah, it's always good to be out there and sort of walk around and get a sense of, does everything look happy and healthy and even, and all those great things we want.
Heleen, when you were a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up?
A vet. Yes. Yeah, I was into animals and stuff, and then when I was at the end of high school, I totally had given up on that. It's like, I was not very much into one specific thing. So when I went to university, I started to do economics, because then, you have lots of options. And when I was done with that, I became a banker, and then I became a person that started a winery. So that's how things can go. My kids are now is like considering things. It's like, I don't want to not be able to do something. And I said to them too, whatever choices you make now, it's not going to be forever. You can always change.
Always. That's always something that's out there for us, right?
Yeah, you can just go do something completely different. So why not?
When you are not working, what do you do in your spare time? How do you spend your free time?
Well, I'd love to, hike and be out there in nature. I'd love to read a good book every once in a while. And, just hang out at home and not talk to a lot of people. Sometimes it's very nice if you're, doing that all the time for your work. So I enjoy my alone time too. Yeah.
Is there a favorite singer or musical group that you're currently enjoying, or is there a group or singer over the years that you continue to come back to and enjoy?
Well, we had a little chit chat about this beforehand. There's not really a specific genre or style that I really enjoy. We play music, lots of different things. I mean, it can be jazz, it can be classical, but it can also be very modern, pop. You know, the other day my husband had something on that was like definitely 80s, and I always like, oh, I know this very well. That you know, we used to always play that or hear that, and I have no idea who the artist is. So I have to ask. It's like, who's this again? It's like, oh, is that Duran Duran or something or something? I was like, yeah, I'm very bad at names, and especially with, you know, music and bands and stuff like that.
Well, for the wine soundtrack, there might be a couple questions at the end of this interview that I'm gonna have to circle back. I know you're gonna be okay. I'll hold your hand through it. We're gonna do it.
Okay. Sounds good.
For a very romantic evening with your husband, what wine would you order in a restaurant to kick off the night?
Well, to kick off, always bubbles. Yeah. Right? And a good bubble, I mean, it might be a champagne, but it might be a brew from Spain or something dry and bubbly. Yeah, for sure.
Do you, are you a supporter of any sports teams?
Not really, no.
Oh, no. That's okay. Yeah. You sound to be more like a reader and quiet time and hiking and nature.
Yeah, and the thing is, the sports in Canada are quite different from, you know, from the Netherlands. I mean, ice hockey is not a thing there. Even, you know, you say hockey in the Netherlands, it's called ice hockey. Hockey in the Netherlands is what you call here field hockey. So, you know, that's a difference.
It's like football and soccer.
Yeah, football and soccer is the other one that I was going to mention. So it's just, you know, yeah.
What is the best piece of advice that you have ever received?
That's an excellent question. You should have asked me that in advance, because
I don't tell anybody anything in advance.
No, you don't. That's true. I think is, you know, try and find yourself and be yourself. I don't know. I mean, it's not somebody that told me, but I think it's great if, you know, in your work, in your life, you can be yourself and don't think you have to pretend to be somebody else. And yeah, people that I enjoy to hang out with is people that are authentic and that can, yeah.
I might just have a little tear or two in my eye right now. I love that answer so much, because I agree. I think that when people are super authentic and they just allow themselves to be who they are,
yep,
the world gets the best them.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
What is your proudest achievement work-wise so far? And see how I said so far, because I have a feeling that there's more coming. I know there's more coming.
Well, I think the fact that we've been able to build Fort Berens up to where we are right now, we get a lot of support. We get a lot of positive feedback, and it's like every once in a while, it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while we sort of look back and it's like, when we came from the Netherlands about 14 years ago, that's if somebody had told us that we would be here today, that I would not have been able to imagine that. So yeah, that's I think the whole journey has been very interesting, and we're not done yet. So yeah, hopefully we can just continue on.
Well, I'm a big time cheerleader. I don't know if you know that about me with Fort Berens, but wherever I can, I do talk about your wine and you know, introducing people to the Lillooet region. Mm-hmm. It's our smallest one, right?
Yeah, it is. It is our smallest VQA region, and it is, but it's, I think, the coolest. We still hope that there will be lots of expansion to come in the future, and yeah, let's show everybody what we can do.
I'll be cheering you on from the sidelines, if not right beside you, if you let me.
We love that. We love that.
A table. I'm going to ask you to finish this sentence. A table without wine is like ...
Is like Ay, you got me here. is like something that could be less boring. Is that a thing?
Sure. There's no wrong answer. This is why these questions are so fantastic because, some people have said a table without wine is like a piece of wood. Like somebody answered very...
That's a great one. It's like a square thing with 4 legs. Yeah. I don't know.
What wines do you think we're going to be enjoying in 2300?
2300? Well,
like in 100 years.
Yeah, as I said, if the Earth keeps warming up, I'm not sure where we'll be, making wine, maybe in the Rocky somewhere. But yeah, so far, Canada is the weather and the climate is getting better for a lot of grape varieties. So in that sense, we will see lots of new developments. I'm sure, maybe even Nebbiolo.
Woohoo! You heard it here first, Wine Soundtrack Canada, Nebbiolo.
Maybe.
Yay!
Maybe we'll get there.
Heleen, I'd love to ask you 3 wines that you would take with you to either your choice, a deserted island, or out into outer space. Whatever your fancy is, what 3 wines would you like to bring with you? And those would be the 3 that you could always drink for the rest of your time.
Well, it would be then definitely one bubble with that. A nice traditional method wine would be wonderful. And then the next ones would be a lovely Riesling and a beautiful Cabernet Franc. That would be my favorites. Because they are my favorites.
There's the trifecta right there. What is one winemaking area in the world that you would like to explore more or you haven't been to yet?
Well, I don't know if I have never been to California, so I would just be interested in see.
There we go.
Everybody does stuff there, but South America would be another one on my that's high on my bucket list. Well, high, but yes, it is on my bucket list for sure. That's an area that I would like to explore. Yeah.
Okay, we're not quite finished yet. We're just getting down to the wire here. It is the wine soundtrack, so we have to have a couple of music questions in here.
All right.
It's time for a game, and I am going to ask you 3 different wine varieties. And I'd love for you to tell me either a song, but you've just mentioned that you're not so great with songs. So if you can't think of a song, maybe an artist, and if you can't think of an artist, then a genre to go with. Yeah, so you just gave me 2 that I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with Cabernet Franc.
Ooh. Cabernet Franc to me would go... I should not overthink this, right?
Correct. Don't even think about it.
Spanish, something Spanish to me. Yeah, I don't know why, because it's not grown there much, but
there's no wrong answers.
There we go.
Riesling.
Vivaldi, right?
Sure.
Yes. Happy and cheerful. Yeah.
See, you're doing great. Okay, you're doing great. Just don't think about it. Don't think about it. Okay, and the one I am going to end with, of course, is Chardonnay.
Chardonnay. Oh, man. Everything goes with Chardonnay.
Yeah,
doesn't it? Can we have a good old Beatles song go with that? Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah.
How about like Good Day Sunshine or something?
Man. There we go. It goes really well with this day in Vancouver too. So.
Exactly. Oh, Heleen, thank you so much for joining us today on the Wine Soundtrack Canada. Can you please remind the listeners where we can find your wines? Is your tasting room open? Just tell us a little bit about how we can get those beautiful wines into our hands.
Well, of course, the tasting room is open 7 days a week now because the summer is supposed to have started. So the tasting room online. Join the wine club.
And what is your website, please?
That is fortberens.ca. And then there's lots of BC liquor stores that have our wines. There's lots of save-on stores that have our wines, and then there's lots of private liquor stores as well, all through the province. So yeah, there's lots of opportunity to buy our wine. We have a list on our website, again, fortberens.ca, and where you can find our wines. And yeah.
It has been absolutely my pleasure. Is there any final words that you would like to leave the listeners of Wine Soundtrack Canada as we sign off and say goodbye?
Well, that is, if you if you are in Vancouver or if you're anywhere, but if you want to go out for a nice drive, please come and visit us. Our area is beautiful. It's lovely to walk out in the vineyard in the summer. We do lovely lunches on the patio, and it's a great little getaway. And please come all visit in Lillooet and at Fort Berens.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to a new episode of Wine Soundtrack Canada. For details and updates, visit our website, winesoundtrack.com.